Is for rain coming Wednesday, and then again as we go into Saturday and Sunday as those temperatures cool down a little bit. John?
We are celebrating Back to School Week. I don't know if the kids are, but we are. And today we're dealing with young backs. Dr. Ellen Raim with the Southeastern Spine Institute is here with what children are dealing with as they head back to class. Dr. Raim, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. This is a great topic because I remember when I was a kid in school, everybody had these gigantic LL Bean backpacks and they would stuff everything that they had into them. And my mother always used to say, don't do that because you'll end up with back pain.
I think your mom was very smart.
She was a smart lady.
Clearly. I remember those LL Bean backpacks too. They were quite popular.
They were very big as well. So this is really an ongoing problem, has been since I was a kid.
Right, right. You know, it is a concern. You know, books are getting bigger and bigger. And backpacks, you know, to accommodate the books are getting bigger and bigger. And, you know, according to the size of the child, it may very well be that they're putting too much strain on their back on a day-to-day basis, just lugging around, you know, 20, 30 pounds of books.
Yeah, how much is too much? How can we tell?
Well, that's difficult. I mean, you know, you can look at the size of the child and compare the size of the backpack. I think that's an important thing when you're going to buy the backpack for back to school this year. If your child is a small child, don't get a backpack that is too big for that child. Also, another thing that you could do would be just to talk to your child about making sure that they take that extra time before they pack up their backpack before they leave school. To make sure that they aren't taking home unnecessary books.
And even if you do bring them to school, you don't need to carry them around all day long from period to period because you have that locker.
That is also a very good point.
I used to carry around a lot of stuff in my backpack, that's for sure. Do you see a lot of patients, young kids, with back problems these days because of this?
No, you know, I don't see a lot in my specific practice. You know, luckily kids are pretty resilient. But it doesn't mean that they couldn't get back pain or muscle spasm or muscle strain from the backpack. Another thing that I would recommend is that children wear the backpacks appropriately. I don't know about you, but back in the day for me, everyone would throw one shoulder,
gotta do
you
it.
know, and that is just not good for alignment, especially like you make that backpack really heavy and then you got one shoulder going on. So some of them these days even have, well, they all have two straps usually. Some of them even have a buckle in the front.
Yeah.
All these things just to kind of, you know, equal out the weight so that it's distributed
my
equally.
last backpack had a strap right across here on the chest, and it always made me feel a lot better when I had a heavy load in the backpack.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. And then, you know, in extreme circumstances, there's always the roller backpack.
Right. That's definitely a good one with the wheels on it, no strain on the back. What about those messenger bags, those one-shoulder messenger bags that people were wearing for a long time?
Well, I mean, you know, I think as long as you're not overloading it and it's not causing pain, that's something that would be just fine. But I prefer the two straps or the roller. Worn properly, with being the proper size for the proper child. If your child does get back pain, you know, the first things to do would be, you know, try not to re-injure it. You know, say, okay, you know, let me help you take your books in and out of school for a week. Other things you can try, just heat and ice, and you know, children's Advil and Tylenol. Just take it as it's stated on the bottle for the appropriate age of the child. And you know, if it's not getting better in a week or so, it may be time to go in and actually see your doctor and have the child evaluated.
And what would you do if you had a patient that came into the Southeastern Spine Institute? How would you evaluate them, and what would you give them?
Pretty much what I, you know, just told you. For the most part, you know, we could always get imaging studies if we needed to. And we always start more conservatively, especially with children. You know, just to make sure that they haven't, you know, injured something. But like I said, children are pretty resilient, and we don't see, luckily, a lot of terrible back injuries in children. But you know, if your child, you know, has scoliosis or some other childhood back deformity that we do see more commonly, even more reason to try to avoid wearing the heavy backpacks.
All right, so make sure you wear them on two shoulders and make sure you balance low there. Dr. Ellen Raim, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
All right, besides backpacks, there are many more things that the kids need to head back to class. And with that, we're going to send it over to Tessa.
Thank you.